Hey everyone, we're here with Bobby from 16, the band. You guys should check them out. They've been around for 33-ish years and have a new album out, Guides for the Misguided, which is a phenomenal piece of like sludge fucking madness. Honestly, mixed with some great like rock and roll in there. I fucking love it.
Thank you.
What was the first question, I guess? What was the catalyst for Guides for the Misguided?
Title or like stylistic,
Let's
or
start with
but or
title and then we'll go into stylistic.
title was actually between a book. This one from I don't know, it might be from like 1930 or something. I had a list of titles and song titles and lyrics and all that stuff, and I had that, and I didn't know that book even existed. And then I found the book in a used bookstore in San Francisco, just bought it, and then I investigated the book. And then just serendipity, the book is actually really cool, written by like a district attorney who tried to write a almost philosophical book on why the more religious someone is, the more apt they are to criminal behavior, and that his murderers were all very religious. And then that kind of got me on the atheist manifesto of it all, which was, so it just kind of built from there, like just serendipity, like something totally random, and then into a bunch of the subject matter of the songs as well. It wasn't a conscious thing. Like I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna write this atheist manifesto or anything, but that's kind of how I feel what happened. For the most part, every song has a religious tint to it, So that's kind of vocally or not like thematically in words. That's what transpired. That's how we got there.
Hell yeah. What a like cool thing to like, oh, look at this book. What a cool name. And then actually go, holy shit, this is a cool fucking book, you know?
Yeah, I think it rings true too, because it's like just everyone's hoping for an afterlife while they fucking ignore the life at hand. And that's almost like how greedy are people. You think we have eternal life? Like get the fuck out of here. No, we got this life and that's it. So, use wisely. So
Well, that's all we know, right? Like,
yeah,
and I think a lot of people, I at least try to instill in my kids, like, you can think about tomorrow, but really try to be present today because this is what fucking matters.
true. But I think with the religious context, it's like this, let's build a thing for an afterlife that may or may not exist, and then putting your whole life's emphasis on that while you miss your actual life. I'm all for
Well,
planning. I'm all for planning tomorrow for tomorrow. God damn, it's a lot easier when you do. But
yeah,
I
well,
feel
yeah,
you.
but and you can't even if there is, like this heaven or hell or whatever's next, you can't be a shithead today and think, through your life now, be an asshole to everyone and a piece of shit and go, I'll just say I'm sorry and everything will be good.
I think that's in the rules. I think you can actually, but if you think there's no divine justice in the universe, you're probably right. I don't know. We might all just be animals on that, random parasites. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rock floating through whatever space we're in or whatever, what have you, for
yeah.
sure.
So that was kind of the impetus for the vocal themes and the lyrical themes. Musically, I just feel like we're kind of doing what we do, for despite being an older band or a band that's been around a long time, we actually do kind of practice a lot and jam. And this is like, I've chosen my path, like this. I don't have any other hobbies. I don't do shit, play guitar and try to write songs and scream into microphones. And that's just like, that's it. So I think that the sound evolution and the kind of rock influences too, it's just like all the shit we love, like if we're together a lot and turning each other on to music, I'd say classic rock is half of our discussions, from fucking Deep Purple, Talking Heads, just fucking you can go really weird into 70s rock and like Sir Lord Baltimore. There's just music is a never ending well. And I think that kind of just crept in our 50% focus and agreement on certain classic rock just kind of crept in to what we do.
It's cool that that happened, because there are times where you're like, oh, I don't know what's going on. This is fucking great. And then other times you're like, that riff, it fits, but it's like, it gives you the good, like, rock and roll fucking feel, like, oh man, I want to see this at a show and just like get down.
Yeah, I think just, like for one, like it's a band. It's not a cure for cancer. It's supposed to be fun. And if it's familiar and sort of original, then I think we got a winning formula for a lot of things, like familiarity or an interpretation, more dirt on the grave of rock and roll. So,
Yeah.
but we're like serious music nerds. So I think that kind of shown through on the record itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. Like it's again, right? It's that mix of stuff. Um, Desperation Angel, what is I was just listening to it. I'm like, God, it's such a good fucking song. Like,
Thank
damn
you.
it. Is there a song for you that like stands out more than another?
I mean, even though we've been doing this a long time, like I've only been singing for 3 records. So I have like plenty of wood to chop, so to speak. And that's kind of lucky for longevity. So I still have plenty to learn about singing and playing. That song, I think we were listening to tons of like Devo, and wanted a quick, like, of course, it's like, it's tuned to A, it's down picking, it is what it is. But we called it the Devo song forever. When you're in a band, it's like, here's our Devo song, here's our Motorhead song, here's this song, like before they had names. And that was our like Devo kind of song. Like I think listening to the album Freedom of Choice really influenced that as far as like the pace and maybe the way the vocals are delivered. So it was a harken back to Devo Freedom of Choice, through the filter that is us tuned to you know, fairly more aggressive, I guess, than a new wave would be. But that's kind of what influenced it for sure.
Well, you've got, it's cool. You've got to be influenced by shit and like do it your way.
Like I'm just not one of those people that reinvents the wheel. I love familiarity. I like, I don't know how many retro bands there can be, but some of them are so good. But they're offering nothing new to the equation except the songs are new, but stylistically, and I'm not hung up on that total innovation, blank canvas, and super artiness of it all. I like a lot of that stuff, but man, sometimes you just want to rock out. I don't want to avant-garde all the time.
Well, and that's, I think there's a place for everything, right?
Of course, of
You
course.
know, obviously there's a place for AC/DC who released the same album for 50 years,
Don't they
and
don't they say you release the same album? He says, no, I'm trying to release the same song.
oh,
Like,
yeah,
no, I'm totally down with that. But also the nuance of AC/DC, like you can't do that. Like they do what they do is perfect. Like anyone who really knows music will admit that about AC/DC. Like, yes, it's repetitive, but slightly innovative on every time. But it's like uh, black belt level of execution on exactly what they do.
yeah.
Like, and black belt chemistry. So I fucking love that shit. So I could write the same song over and over again too. In fact, I have a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. They're all fairly simple, and I don't get or similar. And I stopped giving a shit a long time ago, man.
Yeah.
Like let's just new. So
I think at the end of the day for a band, that the best way for a band to go about it is what works for the band, play music that makes you happy, not, not what's so and so going to think or what's our fans going to think. No, just fucking play what you want and enjoy what you want. It helps the longevity of the project.
I think when other motivations are involved, that the fans see right through it eventually. So I think there's an understanding of sincerity in the music, at least there is with me. It's kind of like the dichotomy. Like if you do it for, I think it's a Lydia Lunch quote. Like I'm into making art and commerce. So if you start making commerce, there's no way back. You need to conceptualize this as total art, and then hopefully the rest will realign behind it, or it won't. Who gives a fuck? Because I'm making art. So like that's kind of the ethic that I try to have about it. Like really nothing else matters, then we gotta make some cool shit come out of the speakers, fucking get down with what we're doing. And then hopefully people will follow along.
Well,
But
it's that authenticity that I think people connect to.
yeah, of
You know,
course. Yeah.
that's why I think, a band being true to itself has more longevity or better longevity than someone who's like making commerce, right? Like, oh, I'm going to put this song out and I want to sell 1 million copies. Like,
That never works. This like there's I always say there's smarter people than us talking about this right now and failing in big office buildings. No one knows for sure. They have a pretty good idea what they can push with their media machines, but sometimes, man, like the stars align for something stylistically that you think is going to be huge, and it just falls flat on its face for whatever reason. It's either they're too late to the party, or people don't get it yet, or it's just not great. You know,
yeah,
it's not,
but
you know.
yeah, part, yes, I think when artists are, ahead of their time, it's great, like in current day to look back and go, holy fuck, man, why didn't that take off then? You're like, what didn't make sense then?
Yeah, a lot of, and then the other half of the equation is timing, I mean, what is it? You don't necessarily have to be the best at anything. You have to be the first.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a marketing rule, There's a reason why we call tissue Kleenex and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
So they were like the first one.
Yeah. Well, they were the best branded,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
that shit's it's so funny and it's so fucking true. Like if you can, Amazon I think is very similar in that it's not like, hey, I'm going to go online and get some. It's I'm going to Amazon. Like, well, they fucking have
yeah,
everything, but
they own it. They own the category. Those motherfuckers.
those motherfuckers,
Yeah.
whatever. And it's wild to think that like Amazon started like, oh, I'm just going to sell books. Like, holy shit.
I have a side story. I have an uncle that was an executive in like supply chain management for like aerospace and shit, and he interviewed Jeff Bezos years ago when Amazon was first starting, and he was like, you know, apparently the guy at the company, the HR guy, was like explained what they're doing and that they're selling books and things over the internet. And my uncle was like, "Why? Why would you do that? That's the worst idea I've ever heard of." It's my uncle Butch. He's hilarious. He'll talk about it. I think life still turned out pretty good for him in retirement. But yeah, he was like, I didn't get what the hell those guys were talking about.
But I don't think a
So
lot of people did. I mean, even I think Bezos says like when he decided he was going to do that, his boss is like, yeah, I think it's a fucking terrible idea. Like, why would you do that? And, tried to talk him into staying and look at where he is now. Like, yeah, not too terrible of an idea, huh?
So I get the same question about the name of the band. Why did I name a band that's so hard to Google? And the answer is that if I knew Google was going to exist, I probably wouldn't have started a band because back in 91, there was no Google. Like why'd you make a band name so hard to Google? And it's like, it looked better in the pages of Maximum Rock and Roll than it does on Google. So that was the only plan we had. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't have started a band if I knew Google was coming. I would have done something else.
Oh, yeah, I had to try to find the guys who were fucking designing Google and get in on the ground floor of that shit. You know,
Yeah.
that's funny. I did read like initially you guys were called 15.
Yeah, yeah. That was, I mean, we were really young when we started this. So the story is that there's a pro skateboarder from the 80s and 90s named Mark Gonzalez. He's an artist and still has his own shoe on Adidas. He's a legendary kind of counter, skateboarding figure. We were hanging around him. I was in my, probably 15 to 19, skateboarding a lot and being around him and being around other people. And he had a thing on his board that he wrote was Team 15. I didn't know what it meant. We called the band Team 15, and then we changed it to 15. And then we went to Vinyl Solution, and apparently the guy told us that there's already a band named 15 from Lookout Records yeah, up in San Francisco. And then we're just like, oh, well, we're 16. And that's literally it. There's like, is there a deeper meaning to the numerology and all that stuff? Nope. It's just a random thing that stuck. 30 years later, here we are.
Yeah, I
Still
mean that
making music under that moniker.
it's funny how I think sometimes band names come about. You're like, oh, Mark had Team 15 on a skateboard. And we're like, yeah, what the hell? Let's fucking do that. You know?
Yeah, I mean, he was someone we obviously looked up to as kids. Um, he's a crazy, awesome person. Yeah, and even with the title of the album, I guess I'm kind of really into this randomness of letting the things arise and not setting out with a preconceived notion and just kind of letting, the cut and paste of it all, just
Yeah.
kind of letting ideas bubble up that way.
It's organic, it's authentic. I feel like it's all of the things that the world needs because we try so hard to plan everything and be strategic with everything. Can we just kind of roll and see what happens?
Can we just vomit shit out constantly? That'd be better creatively. And there'll just be a little more creative vomit involved, and then we'll pick the good stuff out of the vomit. Is kind of how I roll.
Hell yeah, jam
Yeah,
session. Well, that
yeah,
sucks. Oh,
exactly.
that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's good shit. So what were like for you, what were some of those early artists that really pushed you to go, you know what? I want to fucking play music.
So I grew up in Orange County and LA, and around skateboarding and surfing. Spent every minute of my day skateboarding, either out in the streets or in a backyard pool or in a ramp, just like literally like 8 hours a day skateboarding and being involved with that culture and surfing. So I learned from about punk rock really early, Black Flag, Circle Jerks, TSOL, Adolescents, like just everything that was really big in that area. And it was big. I was too young to go to places like the Cuckoo's Nest, which was a legendary punk club of where, Black Flag first played. Everyone played there. The
Tons
Germs
of
played there.
shows, lots of fucking
Yeah, yeah,
stories from
yeah.
there. Yeah.
So that's in. But later there's a place called Fenders, and I started going to shows there, and then I started going to shows in high school in the Reseda Country Club. So I saw a lot of, the Cro-Mags, Sick of All Leeway. I saw, or I think that was Bad Brains, Sick of All Leeway. I saw Bad Religion a lot. I saw Fugazi a lot. I saw the earliest like the earliest Jane's Addiction at the Anti Club when I was like 15 or 16 years old. So that was all super inspiring. Like I just like got a guitar then, like at age 15 or 16. But I had always had acoustic guitars around. I'd literally been playing guitar since I was like 6 or 7 years old, but I never got serious about it until like late high school when I started going to shows. So many shows I've seen. That was the thing. You go see a show once or twice a week. A place in Riverside called Spanky's started having shows. I saw like Fear Factory, to like 20 people, 15 people. I saw Helmet to like nobody, and that whole amphetamine reptile thing in the 90s. And then I saw a lot of the early grunge too. I saw Soundgarden, Voivod, and Prong. I saw a bunch of, I saw Nirvana a bunch. Or Nevermind came out, and Tad and Sonic Youth. So I was really just going to shows, John Spencer Blues Explosion, all these things, just going to shows constantly. And then the San Diego scene, there was, Rocket from the Crypt and Tribe Like Jehu were the anchors of that scene. So I lived here now, but I started coming down to San Diego and going to those shows. And so just soaking it all in. And it's like, that's what you did. Like those people are in bands. Well, I want to be in a band. So I just started a band. And do you know how to play? Yes or no? It doesn't matter. Like just fucking, get it together and you'll do it. So that's kind of the same, like ethic. But that's what I've seen, very inspiring things as a kid growing up in LA. I was lucky to be on that piece of dirt. I mean, I saw Guns N' Roses open up for the Cult. I saw, bunch of really good shit. Danzig a bunch of times, So, I've always been hanging out with the rockers and punkers, I guess, my whole life. And I've made my choice, I guess, like I say. But
Well,
that's like just into that subculture constantly.
what a
Constantly.
wild fucking mix too. Punk and
Yeah.
grunge and rock and like,
Yeah, I see. I don't know if you've heard, Red Cross was a big band for me when I was like maybe like 16 years old. As soon as I got a license, I started seeing Red Cross in this band called Celebrity Skin, which had a member of the Dwarves in it. Not the Dwarves, a member of the Germs. Um, but just being around LA and working part-time jobs and just going to school or not going to school and skateboarding and then like pre-riots and post-riots LA is
oh yeah.
a way different place. But I've been entrenched in music probably my whole life, like that, like at
Yeah, I
that
mean
level,
that's
like at that level. I still do it today. So here
pretty
I am,
fucking
50, 50, I'm 51, and this is what we do. This is
hell
it.
yeah.
And
Cool. I was like, I thought you were younger than me. Here, I'm 40,
oh, really? Oh,
49.
really?
Man, yeah, I was like, oh fuck,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. All right.
looking
Well,
good. The nice fucking
yeah, yeah. Well, you can only see this much, though. So let's
yeah.
let's let's remain realistic here.
Yeah, no, I same thing, right? Like you go
Yeah,
only see this. Like
yeah.
that's funny as shit. So, back in those days, like, is there a show that you went to that just absolutely you're like, holy fuck, I'm witnessing history be made right here.
Honestly, several. But the Bad Brains took it to the ultimate level, I think. I saw them on the Quickness tour, but they were just like on fire then. And I saw it at the Reseda Country Club, and they just rocked the joint so thoroughly that not one, it's like it got so out of control that you either had to leave or stay there. Like, like everyone just freaked out because of the music. Like that was definitely, I think, I mean, I'm still talking about it today,
Right.
so that, I mean, I'm not the only one who's been blown away by them. And then again, I saw Jane's Addiction at before Nothing Shocking came out on a New Year's Eve in like the 10th grade I think it was at the Regency Ballroom, which was where RFK got shot, in this hotel ballroom in a New Year's Eve thing. And, they played a show, and it was seriously like 700 people packed into this ballroom. It was New Year's Eve. It was wild. So that was like another like crucial, moment. I remember waking up and going, wow, in the morning, like, wow, what kind of fucking pagan ritual did I just take part in? Like, what was happening there?
That,
So,
that's like the era that I think everyone would have, especially kid like people now would have loved to see Jane's Addiction. Like that was like their fucking heyday. They were tip top fucking shape, the most fucked up that they could be and still performing and blowing people's minds.
that's nothing lasts forever.
Nope.
I haven't, I don't think I saw him maybe on the Ritual de la Ritual, but I haven't seen him since. But I understand it's not so great. But as a kid, it fucking blew my mind. I fucking bought a delay pedal the next day. Uh, you know, it was that kind of shit.
Hell yeah. So I don't remember where I was gonna go. I'm fucking exhausted. I went out to a show last night and it was this band Psalm they were just fucking fantastic.
Where are you from?
I live in Louisville. So they're like they're like a post metal shoegaze type deal. Show was fantastic. Late night. I had to get up and do some work. I left the house at like 6 this morning. So, no sleep. I'm like, brain fart.
Well, we did just get back from Europe last week, so I can definitely empathize with 3 hours sleep. However, under the circumstances of touring, it's all such a whirlwind, anyways. But we were pretty stoked. We basically sold out of all of our merch halfway through it, and then we had about, I'd say, maybe 60 or 70% of the shows were sellouts.
Yeah.
That's never happened to us before. Um, Hopefully it's the new record, or it's that we've done 3 records since we've been over there. I don't know, but it was nice to play for the true believers, but it was also nice to get out of America and walk the earth for 3 weeks. And 3 days into a tour, you forget everything because again, you're not sleeping a lot, you're driving, but also you're on the high of each show. Um, and then the physical labor part of it. So it's like, I don't get how people can complain about touring, to be honest with you, because it's like, oh, you mean that thing that fills all the holes in your self-esteem where they give you free alcohol and food and tell you you're special? Yeah, I'm really not going to complain about that. That's like a fucking gift to do, to
Well,
do something that you want to do.
I think a lot of that is perspective too, right? Some some people and are just, this is my job, I do it, blah blah blah. And other people like yourself obviously are like, man, I am so fucking grateful that I get to do this. I get out into the world, I get to see the world, play fucking music. Like this coddles my soul just how I need it to.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a simple fact.
Yeah.
Simple fact. That'll keep you going. But it kind of moves to the whole energy of the thing too. So that it's inspiring, and then you're inspired with more music, So
So you started writing for the next album already?
it's not that I'm writing albums. I think we're always writing. I think this is just the way like we are.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we're always like, hey, check this out. And, there's just a lot of material between us. So, or that, or we'll do cover songs, or, like I said, like I stated, we're just like fucking music nerds and like, instrument nerds. So I just want to continue doing that because there's no, like, what's the other option? Not to say life shouldn't be balanced, but I can devote, 8 hours a week total to jamming. I got that time in my schedule,
Oh yeah.
and it's always been there. So yeah, we're, just continue. There's, every month there's a new song usually. And that's kind of, good or bad. And there might be 2 or 3 in a month sometimes.
That's a lot of, I mean, that's a lot of writing, but it's cool that you guys are that creative, and just, yeah, we get together and out comes a fucking song essentially.
Pretty much, like and there's something to be said for chemistry there, but I think that's just how we've always done it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm into it.
Hell yeah. That's fucking cool. I'm here for it. Bring me all the fucking music.
There's like with music, it's not like music can last, but it comes in waves. It might be your favorite thing for a week or two, and then you'll forget about it. And then next year you're gonna come back and go, oh fuck, that album rules, and you're gonna come back to that album. So it's like, like the whole digital marketplace, I think is really bad for bands. Well, at least like Spotify is really horrible for the artist. However, as a consumer, it's fucking amazing. Like never in your life did you think like I can listen to anything at all times and I don't need to fucking go rifle through all my LPs or go to the garage and find a CD.
Or bring a
Not,
book of CDs in my car with me. Or
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
not to shit on physical media because that's what keeps me and everybody else afloat. The fact that I can just explore, I mean, music is an unexhaustible well. It's fucking crazy. There's people who
But
have created so much music.
Fuck yeah, they have. And like I'm with you. I think in my mind, like Spotify is good and bad. It's obviously doesn't pay the artist what the artist should get paid. It's very different from, what what each radio play pays the band. And I would love to see, the band make more money off of that shit. But if we look at it like, we grew up around the same time. Back in the 80s and 90s, there was a lot of tape trading going on. You're out there dubbing tapes and ripping CDs and sending them to your friends. Here's 20 fucking bands that I think you'll like. And you're like, shit.
Yeah, yeah, I was definitely into what's, getting a mixtape made for you, especially by like a girlfriend, uh, getting a mixtape. And what's saying is like, man, if Spotify, their playlists that generate for me, if I was like 17 years old, I'd fucking propose to my Spotify playlist because how you know me that good?
Right.
You son of a bitch, you
Yeah.
motherfucking computer. Like how you know I like that song? Fuck. Yeah, it's fucking
Yeah.
like maybe that's just the old dude in me being blown away by it still.
Now I am too, because you
Yeah.
fucking you listen to an artist and it, keeps going and something pops up and you're like, how the like this is so fucking good.
Yeah, like how did I miss this? Like
Yeah.
I always just say like I'm here to applaud the shit I like and I'm here to ignore the shit I don't like because I ain't got time for the shit I don't like. But there's so much stuff I like, so I'm cool with it. I'm
Yep.
definitely I'm definitely
Yeah.
cool with it. Again, I wish they paid, but they don't. So there's the fucking reality.
Yep.
Yeah.
So tell me about that European tour. Like 3 weeks, fucking
Uh,
predominantly sold out shows. How fucking awesome is that?
so like, smaller places like 100, 150, like, but that's like really the venue I feel most comfortable in. Um, Czech Republic, all over Italy. I went to Italy twice. We went to Helsinki, Finland. We flew from Munich to Helsinki, back to Milan, and then started the tour again. Only one day off in I think 18 days, no missed shows. Ran out of our new album and ran out of all of our t-shirts and merch, like everything. We just had nothing. We were like selling broken cymbals to people. Now, we got some more t-shirts when we went back to Italy at the end, but you just can't expect more than that. And you can definitely be filled with gratitude. And then a bunch of, like, magic experiences as tour, the randomness of tours, like, hey, today's only a 2 hour drive. Let's go to Salzburg Castle and, and hike 17,000 steps to the top and the fucking trumpets play at 10 in the morning at the castle. So, a bunch of crazy shit like that, walking through the streets in the middle of the night, just exploring around, good food and, good drinks with good people, after the shows and before the shows and just generally, hanging out with some people we've known for a long time, for years, because we have been over there before. Other people we talked to over, the computer or a bunch of new friends too. So that's kind of a touring experience couldn't have gone better. Just us in a van, so only four people in the band and one driver. Everything else we do ourselves. Um, it's not like we need a roadie or anything with our rigs. We fucking guitar, bass, drums, vocals. That's it. We don't have a computer or looper or anything with us that we use. So it was just some tough drives is 7, 8 hours, but for the most part, hitting places that we've been before. Bologna, Italy is very good to us. Milan, it's very good to us. And then Germany is pretty good to us too. So we went to Poland, Zagreb, Croatia. So some guys in Zagreb gave me a scarf for their local, soccer team, and it was freezing, so I started wearing it. And then as the next day, we're like in Poland, and the driver's like, "Hey, man, don't wear that scarf." And I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Because people want to fight you." And I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, man. It's like how do it's like California street gangs, but it's soccer here. So you could wear that." You could wear that scarf in Milan or in Zagreb because I guess the teams are like brother sister or something like that, or brother or whatever connected.
Yeah.
But he's like, you can't wear that like, don't wear that in Austria. And I'm like, okay. So I just, put it in my backpack and kept it. But yeah, pretty funny. I learned about the soccer hooliganism, but just a bunch of good beer and bunch of good shows and sweaty times and not didn't wash clothes the whole time,
Yes.
living like a true animal,
Like
you know.
day 18, you're like, Jesus Christ, I could smell me in the next room. This is terrible.
Those poor people who had to sit next to us on the flight home, those poor people. I feel I owe them, but so much sweat on your jeans, they look like tie-dyed, you know.
Good shit. Yeah, they got
Yeah,
the
yeah,
white fucking things. You're like, oh, that's
yeah,
not good. Damn it.
yeah. I need some electrolytes, I guess. Jeez,
Right.
because there they all are.
You're like trying to fucking let's get the pant leg wet. I need some of that shit back in my life.
I was at the end, I was just washing underwear and socks every night. I would just take a shower with my underwear and socks and then wring them out and then put them on the furnace and then wake up and I had the same underwear and socks, but at least they'd be kind of clean, from like a shampoo laundry. And that was it. But the rest, you just put on your same flannel and your same hoodie and you're like, this is so gross. Ugh.
You're like
Good times.
next day you're like, God, I hope it's fucking dried out so I don't put it on and it goes.
Oh no, it's it'll basically stand on its own. So when I got home here to California, that was literally the first thing I did. I was just like, okay, everything out of the suitcase in the garage, everything goes in the washer at hot, OxyClean, hot water, run it twice because God knows what I'm bringing back from
Right.
God knows where I've been sitting. So
That's funny
uh,
shit. So what city like over there was, I guess, your favorite on this run particularly, or had the most memorable experience?
Rotterdam, Netherlands, we played on a boat, and it was sold out, and I think it held like 120 people, and it's just packed in this boat, like in a boat, the bottom of a boat. Like this thing is called V11, and it's in Rotterdam, and it's snowing outside, and just it's been a long time since we played in the Netherlands. I think we might have played we played Roadburn once years ago, like 10 years ago, and then maybe 6 years before that we played there in the Netherlands. But this was really good. It was, a room full of people screaming the lyrics at you. So, that's you can't hope for more than that. Just standing room only. Like we could barely get play because there's people just so pressed up. And that was crazy. That was just a crazy experience.
Those are some of my
Covered.
favorite fucking shows. You get in there and everyone's like, I can't even really turn. You can only see the band. Like, this is it.
Yeah, yeah. And so, that was quite memorable and definitely, like a high point. And then, um,
Yep.
Gopingen, Germany is this little village in Germany, but we played this tiny place with no stage, just in the back of this bar, but they really packed this bar out. And again, just the sincerity and, everybody screaming your lyrics at you. We played some definitely memorable shows in Europe, but this time Rotterdam and then probably this place called the Freak Out Club in Bologna. Just good times. It's maybe the third time in our lives we played Bologna, but just fucking good times.
The freak out club, you walk in there, it's like a sex dungeon. People are chained to the wall and shit.
You
Like,
you'd think
yeah,
that, but nah, nah, it's your average crusty punk club.
okay,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
That's good shit.
You got to go to Amsterdam for that shit, and that costs extra, I guess. So
Yeah, yeah. You want to be chained to the walls?
yeah,
$100. Oh shit.
it's probably
That's
more than that.
yeah, especially today. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But how, like, I think that's really cool that you guys fucking had a bunch of packed places and got partway through the tour and sold everything out.
Whew. Every tour is a gamble. I'm prepared to lose or win, but it's nice to have a small win like that and just get rid of everything that you printed and all of the boxes of records that we had that, we lugged across the pond with us and just to get rid of them. I know everything's scalable and all that, but I'd rather play to 50 people and they all buy merch than 1,000 people where nobody buys shit, you know? So I'd rather just keep doing that gig. It seems to be work better for everyone involved. They get a better show, you know, even if there's fucking 10 people and they all buy merch, I'm still, you know, if they're enthusiastic and we're playing the songs they want to hear, then I'm down with it.
Dude, I think at those smaller levels, they're some of my favorite shows. I love going to a sub 300 show where everyone is just enthralled with the band. Like, holy fuck, I can't believe, you guys were so good. Like last night, weren't a lot of people there, but everyone that was there was absolutely into every band that fucking played, and every band that had merch sold merch, which was like, that was awesome.
I'm over going to the big shows, pay $20, $40 for parking, the whole $9 beer thing or $12 beer. And then the tickets is like a big show for me is like no more than if I'm going to like 500, that's the biggest show I will ever go to. I'm not about like maybe the House of Blues, which is what 900 people. That's as big as I'll go. I can't go to these things. My wife has drugged me to Coachella a couple times, and I'm not a fan. It's not even that. Like the years that I went, I saw Mastodon one year. I saw Turbo Negro. I saw Superchunk. I saw the Killers. I thought were great. It was just like, man, I just fucking just the whole inconvenience of it all.
Well,
The
and
um,
those big shows, like I go to Louder Than Life almost every year. It's 5 minutes from my house, so I'm like, I'm gonna go. It cost me a lot of fucking money to, buy the tickets, but I can ride my fucking bike there. I can walk. I
yeah,
don't have to worry about parking or any of that shit. And I don't drink, so I'm not worried about, beers or buck pop or whatever. I get a water bottle and I'm rocking and rolling. But the experience is so different at that level than it is, at the smaller shows. I mean, the intimacy at those smaller shows, you cannot beat that. Oh,
I think people are finding out too. I think people are kind of burning out on the arena experience. You know, for one, I just don't think it carries the same weight sound wise. Those big arena shows just never sound very good at all. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's the outside. I saw a band. I saw Jesus and Mary Chain at the and Psychedelic Furs recently at this thing in San Diego called the Shell, which is looks like the Hollywood Bowl. Like it looks crazy. It's this big shell. And it was great. It was like an adult experience, like sit down at tables and shit, So, but it sounded great. But all the other like kind of metal shows I've been to that are big and outdoor, I'm always like, this would be so much better at like 500 place.
oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw. We just went to see Mastodon in December up by Chicago, and I don't know that it was really advertised. Like, I had a buddy that
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, I just found out about the show just a couple weeks before. You want to go?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" So I'm thinking, like, the venue is probably 3 or 4 thousand people total. We go in there. I don't think there was 600 people there.
Oh, that sucks. But they're
It was
bigger than that.
fucking great for the fans, dude.
I know. I know. They're a fucking amazing band. I don't think I've ever seen Mastodon.
You just
It's
said you
funny.
saw him.
Oh, I've seen Mastodon at Coachella. It's funny though, this band played with Mastodon a bunch of times in the early 2000s, but I wasn't in the band.
Fuck.
So the other guys who were in the band at the time actually know Brent and those guys. I've met Bill a couple times. But yeah, that's pretty funny. I wasn't even in the band. They played with like Mastodon in Texas and a few other places. So
Yeah. And you're right. Those like they've really honed their fucking craft like as performers. To see them live is fucking great, and they throw the that shit going on in the back. You're like, man, if I was tripping, this would be fucking great.
oh, they're top of the food chain metal. They're like
Yeah.
legendary. I really like that album, The Hunter. That's like one of my most favorite of the recent albums. Well, past 10 years.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Like, I know what album you're talking about. I'm like, what fucking, I don't even know what album would be my favorite because I think I could put, especially like I didn't become a fan until probably say the last 15 years. So I didn't see him like in Leviathan era or anything like that. So even now, they used to play here a fucking lot, dude. Like the little tiny clubs, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, they're fucking coming to stay at my house. This will be good shit." And I'm like, "All right, cool, whatever." And then I became a fan, and I'm like, "Man, I should have fucking went to those smaller shows. I bet that was cool as fuck."
Yeah, yeah, that's why you got to keep going until in this days because you never know. Plus, sometimes you see bands that unfortunately never go anywhere but still blow your mind.
Yeah,
I think a lot of really good bands break up because they just either never had any success or they just didn't like what they did. But there's a lot of really talented people out there, at least in this city. Sometimes I see bands and I'm like, and then like 2 months later they break up. That was a great band. It probably could have been something if they just stuck around a couple of years.
I sometimes I think going into there's not like a realistic expectation with the band either. They have there are some bands out there that are like, man, this is our last fucking shot. We're gonna give it everything we can to like do something with it. And like 6 months in, they're like, yeah, we didn't do what we thought we would. Like, fuck this, we're out. It's like, dude,
I don't know. Life is life again. They're not conceptualizing it as art, and life is full of expectation management. And the best, what do they tell you? And the 12 steps is, you'll have if you don't have any expectations, you're all set. I'm not a sober guy, but I appreciate a lot of the philosophical intent and a lot of the wisdom.
yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's all expectation management,
Yeah,
like
all of life.
it is. If you
Yeah.
never have any expectations, you're never going to be disappointed,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, of
Jet. Okay, Bobby, thank you. I greatly
course, man.
appreciate you taking
Of
time
course.
out to hang out and chat with me. I think that I ordered guides for the Misguided vinyl, but I don't recall. So if I haven't, I will. I fucking love the album.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
love the album.
Thank you so much. Order it. We need everyone. Every single one counts.
Fuck yeah, it does.
Every
Fuck yeah.
single one counts in the physical space. So I think there was a package deal with a shirt too from Relapse, but order from Relapse. They're way more reliable than we are. And there's no cat hair on their merch. There's cat hair on. If you buy a shirt from me, there's generally cat hair on it.
Yeah,
Exactly. Look at
I
that
don't mind.
tuxedo cat.
Sophia, she's my little like, oh, you're talking to people. I'm gonna hang out right here. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dude,
So,
go and have a great day.
all right, man. Thank you.
Thanks. See ya.